Hi, this is Pappy McGillicuddy Sanchez, aka just Pappy, the old Pat's Blue Ribbon, the big old Papoose. Today, we're going to be baking some vegan buckwheat blueberry muffins. Might also talk about why in tarnation one would want to make blueberry muffins or eat them. Now, certainly for someone who is vegan, they might appeal. But perhaps even if you're not officially vegan, it might be something you want to try. Now, the menu for this muffin baking experience is found on epicurious.com. Actually, there's going to be a link right below the blog post. And we're just going to go through this natural light, sort of what happens. Now, I actually doubled the recipe online because I find when I double it, it makes about 4 times 3 is 12, about 15 to 16 muffins that one could eat. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to mix our flours. Let's get some flour out. I think we're going to use a combination of buckwheat and amaranth. So we're going to look down in here. You got to have your different kinds of your different kinds. You got some buckwheat in here, some organic oat flour. You got a lot of stuff in here, things falling around. It's part of the process. And we just bought amaranth, and we found the amaranth. Now, we got the amaranth, we got some buckwheat, and we got some oat flour. Why do we use these flours? So they're lower on the glycemic index than wheat or whole wheat. See, what the body does is it takes extra fats, but also carbohydrates, many carbohydrates, and turns them into sugar quickly. And oftentimes our body can't process all of that sugar. So it actually converts that extra sugar into fat. See, I'll tell you a little bit about what happened with Pappy. This past year, I was on a vegan diet. We're going to clean up the lettuce while we do this, or the celery. I'm going to need these in a second. I was on a vegan diet. I was running 25 miles a week. I went to my doctor. First of all, I gained about 25 pounds even though I was doing that. I went to my doctor. My blood work for my triglycerides and my cholesterol. You hear my cats fighting in the background. Pappy likes a lot of animals around. Sometimes they help stir the muffins with their paws.
No, they don't.
No. Oh, Miss Debbie said no, they don't. When she ain't looking, sometimes they do. Now listen, and I lick the dough right off their paws, and we have a good old party together on the floor. Not part of state regulations.
Not everybody does that.
All right, but here's what happens. I gained 25 pounds. I go to the doctor. I said, it hurts when I go like that. And the doctor says, well, dummy, don't go like that. Then I told him I gained 25 pounds. And he did these tests. High triglycerides, high cholesterol. Triglycerides are the fat in your blood. Now, this puts you at all sorts of risk for heart disease and cancer and all sorts of other things. So I said, something ain't right within me. Doctor called, his office called. He said, well, saw my cholesterol, triglycerides were high. What do you do? He said, you know what? Why don't you cut down on your red meats? Okay, I'm vegan. I don't eat any meat. They said, well, why don't you exercise? I said, well, I'm running 25 miles a week. They said, okay, here's a pill. Come back in 6 months. All right. But then I did research into the real science. Dr. Esselstyn adds, for example, at Cleveland Clinic, world-renowned institution, and real science papers out of academic institutions that are not influenced by large industry advertising, they show that a lot of the extra fat, cholesterol, triglycerides in our body are not from meats and oil, they're from sugar. If we can't process all of that sugar, it turns to fat. I started eating things like these muffins, very low in a glycemic index, very low in sugar. I changed my diet, and in a month, I've lost 24 pounds, a month and a half. Eating 3 meals a day. Let's talk about how we can make some muffins along those lines. So what we're going to do is, says a half a cup buckwheat flour. So we're going to actually double that and do a cup of flour altogether. But we're going to make a half of it buckwheat and a half of it amaranth. Amaranth is an amazing grain that the Aztecs used to eat. a great way to health is diversify the grains you eat. Not just wheat, but amaranth, barley, buckwheat, spelt flour, millet, amazing diversity of grains that God created for us, which helps us with our health. Don't get just stuck on one thing that you get at the grocery store. All right? That's why you also got to cook for yourself. So let's get some cup measurers. Yeah. Now, what I say, I don't even remember. So we're going to do something. We're going to take some amaranth flour. You got to get something to cut it up. Watch. These are Pappy Senior's, may he rest in peace with God in heaven. Pappy Senior's shears where he used to cut off the wool off of the lambs. He used to cut my hair when I was a little kid and I was crying. Anything you can get a hold of, he cut with these scissors.
About as dull as you can get when it comes to scissors. Close to a butter knife.
That's all right. It'll get you there. It'll get you there and back again. Now look. So we're going to do about, see, Pappy likes to take a basic menu and then he plays with it, you know. So you're going to take about a cup of amaranth flour. Very low on the glycemic index. It does not easily get turned to sugar. Unlike wheat flour, even whole wheat flour. Although whole wheat is better than processed wheat. Now we're going to take a little buckwheat. I know y'all had like the buckwheat waffles and pancakes. It's a little earthier, give you a little something to play with in your gut. So we're going to take a cup of that, like Che. And here's my kitty. He wants to stir it. Give him a little spray. He gets out of the way. Now, so you got a little of that. You're stirring her up. But now we need our egg, because you need that eggy consistency.
A binding agent.
You got to bind that stuff. Now, we got like Ron Howard in the background directing as we go. All right, you got to get some of that, and then you got to get some of this. The vegan egg, you use flaxseed or flax meal. Flax meal is just ground up flaxseed. Flaxseed, amazing contributor of omega-3 fatty acids in your diet. You ever hear your doctor talk about the good cholesterol and the bad cholesterol? We need good cholesterol. This is where it comes from. Brazil nuts, amazing for cholesterol, or bad cholesterol. Brazil nuts, flax seeds, great omega-3. You know, a lot of people say you need fish oils for omega-3s. You can get them from the fishies. This little fishy went to the market, but you know what? If you're totally vegan, just play around, get about proximate. You don't need it. You don't need fish for your omega-3s. Just need a little reminderation of what number we got going on here. 1 tablespoon of flaxseed. So you want 1 tablespoon of flaxseed with 3 tablespoons of water for your flax egg. You gotta turn the water down or it splashes all the way out. Here's 1 inch suckers, 2 inch suckers, 3, give a little more for measure. And then you stir it up, and it starts to get all goopy like an egg. It's even better if it's flax meal, where it's already, the flax is already ground. It starts to get a little goopy like an egg.
Show it.
Look at that. You can't really see it, but it's like you start to get like that sticky substance.
Somewhat gelatinous.
Yeah, that too.
Consistency.
Yeah, like the gelatin, whatever, you know.
Viscous, almost like honey.
Pappy don't use them big words, but you know, and I'm sure it means something good. Now listen, you let her sit there and gelatify and shit stuff, and then Pappy never swears. Listen, now you finish all your dry portions of the ingredients in this one bowl. So you look down the aisle and you got 1 tablespoon of baking powder. It says a 1/2 tablespoon, but we're doubling it. You need your baking soda. You need your baking powder. 1 tablespoon baking powder. Stick her in there like Che Guevara. And then what you got? 1/2 teaspoon baking soda. So you take your little fella there. This little piggy went to the market. Now listen, you put her in there, and bam, there you go. Sorry, now you stir up them because they're dry. Still got some other dryness though. Sugar. All right. Here's a really important Pappyism here. Little Pappy riff. It says 1/4 cup of brown sugar. But we're going to do a couple things. First of all, instead of brown sugar, we're going to use this stuff called monk fruit sweetener. If you don't have that, I suggest agave. Both of these much lower on their glycemic index than sugar and brown sugar. What's that mean? It means your sugars don't spike as high. You don't have as much sugar. It doesn't get turned as quickly into fat in your blood vessels. Now, of course, those pre-diabetic or diabetic will understand this is better for the blood sugar as well. We're going to do another Pappy trick. And
wait, back up, Pappy. Can you explain the whole sugar and fat connection?
Yeah. So the scientific evidence, not what your doctor tells you or not what the government says, the scientific evidence says, again, look up Dr. Esselstyn from the Cleveland Clinic. There's papers in the Harvard Review. This comes out of Cornell. That when we have extra sugar, sugar is that. So in other words, sugar is energy, right? So we need a certain amount of sugar to get energy for what we want to do for the day. When we take in a day more sugar than we need for energy, that sugar is extra, right? What happens with that extra sugar? The body turns it into fats. See this stuff right here? That comes a lot from sugar. Not all, you also get it from the fats you eat, but a lot of it comes from extra sugar. Do you know that since 1822, if you look at the amount of sugar we as individuals take in, it's skyrocketed. It starts here and it goes way up here.
We as Americans, right?
We as Americans. And why is that? Because everything processed, everything in a bag or in a box or that you get at a restaurant that you eat has added sugar through corn syrup, through different kinds of sugar. So it's not just what we bake, because we don't bake much anymore. It's everything we eat has tons of sugar. So what happens is we are living the most lethargic, most least active lifestyle in the history of humankind, and we're eating by far the most sugar in the history of humankind. What happens? Fat, blood disease, diabetes, cancer, heart disease, and a lethargic lifestyle. And a lifestyle that's not self-reliant. Because we need Wises and McDonald's and AMP to be around for us to eat. If something happens in the world and those aren't around, what do we eat? If we grow our food, if we even have, look, if you're going to eat meat, have your cow out in the pasture that you raise a year and then you cook and slaughter. That's the healthiest way to eat meat. But some of us are purely plant-based. We'll leave that for another time. Sugar is essential to moderate that. So first of all, we use a sugar that doesn't get turned to fat as quickly, monk fruit or agave syrup, which you can get pretty much anywhere. Wegmans, you get at any grocery store, you can get agave syrup these days, A-G-A-V-E. But another thing happens. Remember I said we're doubling the recipe? This recipe says 1/4 cup sugar, so if we doubled it, we put a 1/2 cup sugar. Pappy ain't gonna do that. Pappy's gonna stick with a 1/4 cup sugar. So in other words, for this recipe, we're actually cutting her in half. So I'm going to guesstimate a little bit. This is a 1/2 cup. I'll fill the 1/2 cup halfway full. Now, see that? 1/2 cup. It's about 1/4 a cup instead of a 1/2 cup. Now, your muffin you're going to get out of that, you combine the buckwheat, monk fruit sugar, and having the sugar, it's going to taste a little different than maybe a lot of muffins you're used to, either baking or getting at the store. It's almost like a biscuit. That's why I love it.
Or a scone.
Or a scone. But here's the thing about our taste. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. What we like is what we're used to. Our tastes are based on our brain, which is based on habit. So when you first start eating it, it'll be different. But after a while, you want it. That's what you want. That's what you crave. That's what makes you feel satisfied. And if you're eating these, it's all good and all healthy for you. What else we got in life here? Now, what else we got dry?
You can also add fruit to it if you want a little bit more sweetener.
But I'm gonna put blueberries in. We'll get there.
In addition to the blueberries.
We got a little baking soda. We got the sugar. We'll need a little cinnamon. Now, do the spices like you like. I don't measure spices. I just dump as I please. Get a little cinnamon. And then,
why don't we tell folks, though, how much the recipe says, just in case they want to go by.
Ron Howard got a lot to say. Okay, Ronnie. We got, it says a half cup cinnamon. Double that'll be not a cup.
It does not say a half cup.
Tablespoon of cinnamon. I also put pumpkin spice. I got it. It's over here. Pappy looks around. If it look good, he'll stick it in. Put some pumpkin spice in there.
There's no pumpkin spice left.
It's empty. What else is there? Allspice. Allspice. You put a little in your armpit, and then you put it in there. Some allspice. You stir that up. What else is there? It's edible when it comes out the end. I'll tell you. Now what you got? Not just edible. It's actually really,
It's very
really.
tasty.
It's yummy as all get out.
And you wouldn't know it's vegan.
All right, so that's all for our dry ingredients, right? Now we're going to do the wet ingredients. We'll start with our flax egg, which gets gooier by the moment. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's even gotten gooier as we gooed on. Most things in life, physicists say everything in the universe tends towards entropy. I say everything tends towards gooiness. Okay, so you dump the gooey in. Gooey goo, bouquet avec moi. There you go with that. And then, what else we got that's wet? So this is interesting. It actually calls for applesauce, and I'm not sure there's any in Pappy's house.
There
right
is
now.
applesauce in the refrigerator on the top shelf.
Not a ton though.
To the right.
All right, we got a little bit. It says it calls for, what you got? Half a cup applesauce. That means for us it'd be a cup applesauce.